All right, guys, video 4. Got my man Claude here. Welcome, brother. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Good to be back.
We are going to talk a little tactical today, a little blocking and tackling for this video 4. When we were with Paulette, we were talking about some DOA transferable skills and some of the things she did to make herself successful. And I know Claude spent some time at Tidewater Tech. It was time with Paulette, too.
Yep.
Out there at the beginning of it. What you thought about it? Because it's a little bit of a different culture, especially than the Ames that you've been to. Maybe even different than some of the organizations you've been with in the past. But I think there's a little happy medium in there that I'd love to explore and kind of take some time and talk about.
Definitely.
So first of all, let's talk Tidewater Tech. It's a beast, right?
Yeah, beautiful campus, multiple programs. You can feel the energy as soon as you walk into the campus. Great team, and their front desk is amazing.
Interesting. Front desk. Talk to me about that. What makes them amazing? Although they won't let you touch the chips.
They won't let you touch the chips.
Don't touch the chips.
But at the front desk, they have two lovely young ladies at the front desk that are very engaged in every aspect of admissions. I should say the START team, admissions and financial aid. The reports that they put out every morning, the hourly updates of the report, not just on admission shows, but on FA shows, and how engaged they were with the process was awesome.
I know Paulette talked about hourly. The DOA engaging every hour, either with inquiry flow or just pulse check-in, being that motivator. With the front check or the front desk talking hourly, what type of data points were they sharing on that?
Well, in the morning, they'll send out a report for all the appointments they have set for the day and the times that they're supposed to show. They also, on that report that comes out in the morning, all of the FA appointments that are scheduled for the day.
Interesting.
And as the day progresses, they're constantly sending out an update as to who showed, who didn't show. And the expectation being that if your appointment didn't show, how quickly the reps are on top of it, because you know how it is. You could be working as a rep, you're in an interview, something goes by, and maybe you had an appointment that didn't show. The rest of the team knowing that if that appointment didn't show, somebody's going to follow up. And it's not just the admissions appointments, but also the FA appointments, and how engaged the front desk is in letting the team know as to what's occurring throughout the day was very impressive.
So they're kind of the glue. Did you notice, though, sometimes when you do things like that, it causes people to not do something. The something for this would be, you know how we like it, hey, John, I know you got an appointment later today at 2 o'clock, just making sure we're still good to go at 2. Are they still checking in with that person to confirm that appointment or to remind that appointment, or does that take away from it?
I don't think it takes away, because I think the admissions representative as well as the financial aid team still has that responsibility. But what it provides is accountability. It provides that backup. If somebody misses something, that thing is there for you to see. And what it does for the DOA is, as you're engaged in your day, doing second voices, getting pulled in different directions, you can come back, check your emails, and see what occurred that past hour. So it's a way of not necessarily I gotcha or let me take this responsibility away from you, but it provides for that accountability and, as we said, those checks and balances.
Safety net, right? I mean, they got
perfect
at any given time 90 or 100 students starting school.
Exactly.
So. Is that just special in Tidewater or in the campuses you've been to? Because you hear it, right? My front desk is just too busy. They're doing this, they're doing paper, they're helping out the DOE, they're doing this. How do they find the time to do that? Because they report to admissions. And I've always thought of them as part of that grad team, part of that new student or experience. What would you say to a campus or to a DOA that's struggling to get them to that level?
I'd have to say that the two young ladies at the front desk there are exceptional. I think you just took the words out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
You have to have the right person at that front desk who can be that engaged, who can be on top of things, and it appeared to be seamless from what I saw. But there's good, bad, and indifferent in all of it. But I think the key is having the right person in that role to make your job as a DOA easier.
Okay.
You and I have talked before about when we were DOAs and having that person at your front desk being so efficient at the job, it just makes your job that much easier to do what you really need to do, which is to coach, train, and develop.
Yeah, if we're spending time doing that, it's not a good use of our payroll.
Exactly.
Would your recommendation be if someone didn't have this, should they make it a priority to get to this type of level?
155%. I said, and again, and we always talk about hating when I was a DOA, but I knew when I was successful as a DOA was when my front desk, we were Batman and Robin. We were peas and carrots, and got to the point where your front desk knew how I thought as a DOA.
They know the rotation.
They know
who feed the beast. They
Yep.
know recircling because Johnny went home at noon.
Right.
They don't need to be reminded.
And also knowing that, who's your Michael Jordan, who's your LeBron James right now, who you're going to feed the ball to. But the thing that was different at trades from what I've experienced, where I would do it, set the agenda for the week. There, they set the agenda by day and maybe even by hour as to how you're producing.
Because it changes.
Yep.
I mean, the shores and the sea level changes all the time.
Right.
Okay, so that's something to look at, I
Right.
guess, if you're a DOA.
Front desk is key to making sure you're going to be successful.
Confidential, I would imagine. You got to have some good confidentiality with that front desk, right? Because I've been in situations where, the front desk is, telling people what the secret sauce is, or hey, front desk person, why don't you give me the next 3 leads, that kind of thing. So they definitely have to be your carrot to your peas, as you put it, but also that confidentiality as a leadership team just themselves, right?
Right.
Okay, good.
You're the front desk person, and also the way in which they interact with the reps. Those are your, as the DOA, those are your other set of eyes as to what's really going on.
They know everything.
Exactly. And what reps do they, look out for? For example, you have an appointment that didn't show. Instead of just letting somebody else reset your appointment, hey, Charlie, get on the phone and that could create that culture and that camaraderie amongst the team.
Freaking love that.
And it can really start with your front
Do you
desk.
think we do that as a general rule? Like if we're Ray Kroc in this and we want all of our Big Macs to taste the same, do you think that's an opportunity for a lot of the campuses?
100%.
Okay, good. It was 155 before.
155.
All right, fine.
Okay.
156. Yeah. All right, now let's take it from the front desk. What type of style did you notice that may be a little bit different as far as, I always call it the grind. It's not a negative word. But I do notice when I get there, it's just, I went there, and Paulette's going to laugh when she sees this. I went there on a Friday morning and spent the whole day Friday with her. And I was wore out. I was literally wore out.
She told me.
From the actions, the activity, the enthusiasm, the emotions. It wasn't a negative wore out. It was just, that was a good day. And now I need to be toes up.
Right.
Because I was tired.
Right.
What's the difference there? Why is that?
I can't say I could put my finger exactly on it, but there is a culture that everybody's bought into, from the campus director, from the assistant campus director, from the people in financial aid. Everybody is bought into what they're doing to drive that business. And I think it's a culture that started at the top with Paula Massey and with Dr. P. That's the culture that they created, and the team is bought in on it.
And they love to win.
Oh yeah,
They love.
Yeah.
From the front desk to the. I was there, and it was orientation day actually, and we had to go around and do our little orientation. It was great, and then we had a meeting after that where the actual program coordinators were saying, "Yo, I had 9 of my 10 show. Well, I had 10 of my 10 show," and they were as vested in it. And I'm sure this happens at a lot of campuses, but I'm just saying I saw this firsthand where they were like in more accountable. Motivation, like positive momentum, than even the reps were.
I could tell you
to make sure it was going right.
I don't remember the gentleman's name, but we had a young man came into the lobby, had an appointment set, and it was busy. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to sit down with this young man and keep him company until the rep is ready for him and do some digging in. And before I got him back to the office, and before I knew it, one of the program chairs was in there talking about the program. The program chair walked in, saw somebody in the lobby, let me give you a tour.
Yeah.
This is the program chair, not just not a rep. Just saw somebody in the lobby and just engaged them. So it's a cultural thing at the campus where every department, the whole come together thing.
They did.
It's true and it's real and you can feel it. How invested it seems everybody is at the campus with making sure that admissions drives business.
And they knew gross. Like when we met, they didn't really pull a start day report. But I mean, the automotive guy stuck out right away because he's like, I need 15. I know I'm where I need to be if I get to 15 every start. And so that was his barometer for 5 weeks. He was looking for that trend to get to his cohort. But it wasn't like, what have you done for me? He's like, how can I make sure I get the best of the best so I can get that 15? And like I say, it's not that I haven't seen it before anywhere else, but I was just ingrained with seeing it, and I thought it was something special.
And the other thing that when I first got to the campus, they gave me a tour of the campus and walked into one of the departments, and they got music playing in there. The instructor.
Say that one more time.
They had music.
Can we get some music? I feel like I'm walking into a library sometimes. I mean, Greg and I were at a campus, Greg Daniel and I was just kind of like, just doing my little thing, my email, checking it, and all of a sudden he threw some music on, and man, I was starting to tap my toes.
Right.
I was starting to get into it. I was even writing my emails better. I mean, there's something to that atmosphere of emotion,
of energy.
Right?
Yep, there's the energy, and when you walked into the classroom setting, the instructors even had it. So again, I think it starts with the front desk. The director,
Sets the tone.
sets the tone, and every place that I went on that campus, you felt that level of energy. Now I don't know if they did it just because I was there and I was there all week. So you go to a campus, it wore off at first, but it was every day. It was fun being there.
Day goes by fast.
Yeah, and
the day goes by super. So I would imagine as a rep, because of that, you got to prioritize your day because it's going to get away from you. And I mean, they're throwing up, like I would say, most of our campuses throw up between 1.5 and 2 apps roughly per rep per week. That's about an average. Those guys throw up between 5 and 6. And again, they've got a lot more programs. It's not apples to apples, but they still have to see them and they still have the same hours in a day. And so they have to really be careful with their time or it's done. It's 5:30 and they may only have one appointment set. So they have to stay on it, which goes to the hour to hour.
Yep. And again, not to harp on it, but I believe that what that front desk sends out each day, it lets you see where I am, what am I tracking, how are things going, are my appointments showing. It's an aggressive environment, but as Dr. P said, it's a culture that the reps accept, that they buy into. And to your point, it's that adage, do you enjoy winning or do you hate losing? They hate losing. They enjoy it, but they hate losing. And they're competitive amongst each other too. So it's fun as well.
So because it's March Madness, I was thinking to myself that, you got a team that's going into halftime. Say it's a minute left. Boom. They pop a 2, so they're up by 2. Let's say they're tied. And then they steal the ball right off the bat, pop it again. Now they're up by 4, they go into a half. That positive momentum takes them into the second half. And generally, that momentum pushes them to the end goal, which is the win. Sometimes it changes, but that's that positive momentum going to halftime. And for me, when I was at DOA, I screwed up missing shots. But I'm saying that's what I was always looking for, is that positive momentum to take you through those weeks. So with that said, talk to me about being a DOA at Tidal with the hour to hour, because I think it was a little bit new. I did get some feedback last week from quite a few of you, thank you, on the comments that Paulette made. And in particular, it was that every hour, your playbook. It wasn't a playbook for the week. You got your run rate, but every hour. Talk to me about that, about being a DOA over there and managing those reps to get the most out of them so they keep that positive momentum.
Well, I would say it was a little bit easier because it's a veteran team, and that veteran team knows what they need to do. And popping
Can you do it with the rookie team?
You can. But you got with a veteran team, it may be a little bit easier, especially if they're engaged and want to win. I found at trades that if a rep wasn't performing well, they were looking for the next opportunity. That when you approached them as to what's going on for the day, they knew what their day was. They knew how they were progressing.
Talk to me about that. What does that mean, though?
Well, they say, I've got this many appointments scheduled for today. I know what my daily run rate is. Being aware of what their numbers were and what they needed to do to be successful.
So it wasn't about, I got these calls to do. It was like, this is what I need to do. All that other stuff just has to happen.
Right.
Because I know I have to deliver this piece.
Right.
Okay.
And making sure that my next day is set up. The appointments that didn't show, how aggressive the entire team was in knowing what happened. So if I could come to you, you had an appointment at 12 o'clock. If I came to you at 12:15, the expectation was I knew why they weren't there. I've already got them rescheduled, or I've already reached out to them.
It wasn't like, I don't know.
No, everybody knew what was going on.
They did say, someone said something to me there too, and I can't remember who it was. One of the reps made a statement. I was in the hallway talking to them, and I was talking about appointments, and it was about show. And they said, I don't book an appointment if I think they're not going to show. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was interesting the way they said it. It wasn't overconfidence, and it wasn't that they were looking for the perfect appointment. Mm-hmm. It was like, I'm going to book that appointment if I know I've had the right dialogue, and I'm confident that they're going to take an hour away from my day that I could be calling other people and slotting that out. Mm-hmm. Did you get a sense for that?
I got a sense for that, but that's not just the trades. I got a sense for that because I was talking to, after I left trades, and I was at some of my campuses, and I was asking, what's the criteria that you need to set an appointment that you believe is going to show? What are the 5 or 6 minimal things that you want to uncover during that conversation while you're trying to get to the why this person wants to make a change in their life? What are the minimal things that you want to do? Or are you looking for the perfect appointment set? I've heard people say, you got 3 appointments set for today. I'm not sure if they're coming.
Exactly. You go to stand up and they're like, well, I got one at 11, but I don't think they'll show. And why'd you book it then?
Exactly. If you didn't think they were going to show, why'd you set the appointment? So there was a little bit of that, but I also know that happens when you're behind. When when you're not performing the way in which you should, now you're desperate to get that appointment
the embarrassment, set. And not a negative embarrassment, but it is. We all, think like numbers don't define us, but in this world, numbers define us.
Right. I mean, if I have no appointments on the books for the day, how do I expect to drive activity for the day? And then so to have those conversations, well, what did the conversation sound like when you set that appointment? Could you look at that appointment that you believe is not going to show, and what steps do you take to improve the next conversation? And to be able to take that critique or that criticism in a positive way to see how can I get better on my next appointment set.
Let me ask you something. Do you book an appointment to get the app?
I book the appointment to get the start.
Do you? I'm
Sure.
going to challenge you on this one. I submit to you that you book the appointment to get the interview. And if we book the appointment to get the start, we end up overselling the appointment set. Where all the appointment set is, you want to see that warm body in your office.
Okay, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit to what you said about the things you want to do in an appointment set. Because I've always believed they just need to like me. They need to like me. They've got to get up, take a shower, hopefully, get some clothes on, start their car, fight traffic. They got to do all this stuff and can find 1,000 reasons not to come see me. Mm-hmm. So I've got to do everything that I must on that appointment set for them to come see me.
I agree.
You get one point now? Yeah.
You do everything you can on that appointment set to get them to show. What does that conversation sound like?
Exactly.
Can it
be a script?
I don't believe so. I think there could be certain points that you want to get to. So in your brain, it may not be scripted, but it is, it's asking those open-ended questions that leads to the next logical question to have a conversation and not an interrogation.
But you got to kick it with them too.
Exactly.
If they don't like you, they're going to find a reason.
And once they show, at our campuses, we know, once they walk through the doors, the only thing you could probably do is talk them out of it. They didn't come all the way up
Say
there.
that one more time.
The only thing you could do is talk them out of it. They did not change their day to come all the way to your campus to not enroll. And the other thing is, they're not stupid.
Interesting.
They're not stupid. They know you're trying to set an appointment. Do you go about it like everybody else and just go right for the appointment set?
Well, I've got 2 and 5 open, and we're going to do what it is.
Which one is better for you?
And you change your voice, and it's like, no, man. You want to come see me? I got 11 o'clock. I had reps say, come on, man, I'm going to set an hour away, which means I'm probably not going to get to 10 other people. So I can count on you coming here. That's Charlie versions,
right?
But you got to say it in your own vernacular.
Right. Do you build up enough of a rapport where this person says, you know what? I'm going to change my day to come and see you.
So instead of 5, what is probably the number one thing you would say you've got to accomplish on an appointment set so that you can ensure that show?
Well, I would say one thing there's certain things you want to uncover.
All right, couple then, not
okay.
one couple.
So let's say you want to know, Are they high school graduates or do they have the GED? You want to uncover that conversationally during on
But
the
you can
appointment
do
set.
that without asking.
Right. You can do it just by having a conversation.
You can ask 6 questions
to get
and learn everything you want to know
exactly.
without them feeling like they're being
interrogated. Yep.
or you're going through 20 questions with them.
Right.
And that's what you do with your bros, your buddies, or whoever. That's how you talk to them. You don't go, what high school did you go to? When did you graduate? What was your favorite class?
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, whoa.
You're just talking.
Yeah.
You know, if you live locally, what high school did you? Oh, I live in the same. What high school did you graduate from?
There you go. And then you find out the year they graduate. You can find out so much. You can find out if they work, when they work.
What method of transportation do they use?
How about this one? Sorry, keep going. I cut you off. We're starting to vibe.
But
now.
it's just like when you I call it professional familiarity. You know, that you assume a professional familiarity when you get on the phone. Just like you and I are talking right now is the same way that you should talk to somebody when you talk on the phone. I'm going to assume I already know you.
Because how frustrating is it when you're trying to do your little script and you're trying to be all admissions rep and you end up asking when they graduated 3 times.
Right.
Like I've listened to calls where people are like, I told you that
already.
Like 2 questions ago.
Right.
And if you're vibing with them and doing what you're supposed to do, you would have that.
Oh, the best part is when they say something that's maybe emotional and you totally ignore it.
Yeah, you ignore it
you
and go,
oh, my grandmother died last week. Okay, what high school did you graduate?
That's right. What was your favorite class? You're like, whoa.
Right.
The best one I love when I'm listening to is when they'll book an appointment and they'll say, well, I can be there at 7 the next day or something, 7 p.m. And if you're not thinking and realizing what they're talking about, they've told you about 2 minutes ago that they work at night. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you just glance that over, and that's why there is signs there in the conversation to sniff out the yeses and the nos. Because one thing that I've always been taught is a lot of individuals, especially the first generation, that appointment set is an accomplishment for them. Mm-hmm. So they think they've accomplished something. So we can't make it the finish line. So that's not what I mean by the appointment set's the interview. But we also can't sell the finish line before we even actually had a chance to really understand them and meet them and build that rapport. Is that you what I'm going with it?
I agree 100% because often what you wind up happening is you're information dumping. You're telling them all these things and you're selling the school, but you don't even know what you're selling to yet. You know, is that important to Charlie? Yep. You know, I'm telling you that this is going to happen, this is going to happen, but maybe that's not what Charlie needs to have happen.
Right.
Maybe what I should be, you know, to use, you know, the what's the verbiage we use for the unique selling point or that unique value proposition? Yep. What's unique to that person? And
not our selfish reasons.
Right.
Their
reasons. And
that's what a lot of us do is because we're comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. We want our reasons, but we can't transfer that onto them.
Exactly.
I like that. All right, we're gonna switch gears a little bit to scrub because I actually did that because it was orientation day. Mm-hmm. And so Paulette had brought them in and man, she knows how to scrub. She knows how to ask the right questions and not, you know, they have a hangnail or they got a flat tire, all this stuff. It's like, what's this? What's their next steps? Why hasn't it been done? Mm-hmm. Did you notice any of that with the people there or anything? Well, or even in your other schools?
I didn't get a chance to sit in on the NSR.
What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I agree 100% because I watched the last video, and
good plug, bro.
It's asking the same questions the same way consistently, so you know this is what Claude or Charlie's going to ask me when I walk into the NSR. I need to walk into the NSR prepared. I need to know my book of business. The DOAs need to know, well, what happened last week? So this week, if it didn't happen, why are we holding on to these people? You find, and I get sometimes you play the game.
We've all been there,
right? You don't want to cancel too many people because you don't want your net to drop.
Oh, they're going to see 10 fall out,
right?
But then you hold them on, and then
they fall out later,
second week or something like that.
So I think it's that accountability and making sure that the reps know that the rep walks into that NSR not with their song and dance, and that used to be when I was a DOA. One of the things I used to tell my reps is. I'm putting my DOA hat on. This isn't Claude, this is the DOA.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you a tough question that I probably already have the answer to, and I'm expecting you to give me a straightforward answer. But the most frustrating thing for me when I was a DOA was the rep who would consistently come into an NSR and not know his book of business.
Yeah.
And then, then if you don't know, well, Let me give that student to somebody else who can manage that guy and get him to the
Because that
finish
is the
line
best
more
customer
effectively.
service. We truly love these individuals. We've got to do all this stuff. So in our last couple minutes, and hopefully this ties in right, the appointment set, that individual needs to convince you in your own ways that they're going to come see you. In a scrub, the rep almost needs to convince you, the DOA, that that person's going to show up.
Right.
And these are the indicators with it. Just like the appointment set would have indicators with it. When you hear that, and it's challenging because we've been there. You got a lot of things going on. Your CED has you doing something, but the priority is, in that order, I feel, is it goes from the inquiry applicant to then the rep representing them to me in the scrub and the steps they're doing to be there. What do you think when I say that?
I agree 100%. I think.
You gotta stop agreeing with me. Man.
Well,
Everybody's gonna
sometimes-
think he
sometimes-
does not. Let me just be clear here. He does not agree with everything I say.
Not everything. Like, you know, we could get to that later, like on the lead
We can
distribution.
go to disagreements later.
Right. But yeah, when you go into some of the things, like there's some of the DOAs that I work with where they already know the student inside and out anyway, which I love. But some of my campuses are smaller, so they already know.
They're intimate with them.
Yes.
Almost too intimate. You
And they buy what is being sold. For example, this application is aging. Took this application 4 weeks ago. He's still in app received and not packaged. FA appointment was on this day. Oh, he's scheduled on Tuesday. No, he's scheduled on Thursday. How many Thursdays has he rescheduled?
Yeah, but he's a good person.
Right.
Well,
why didn't he show
I know
before?
he wants this.
Right.
He wants this.
Well, great. Let's cancel him. And when he shows up, we'll bring him back on.
Can you still be real? Because I do believe in keeping it real. Like I always say, you see me on Sunday, you see me on Saturday, you see me on a Friday night, I want to be on the phones the same way. I don't change my person, good and bad. I don't change my personality. That's who I am. But it's served me well through this. Can you still be real up to your DOA and still keep it real with the person? Or does that turn you into a different rep?
I don't think so.
You get where I'm going with it, though,
I do.
right?
I think you could be fully transparent with your DOA, but still motivate this person that they need to accomplish when
And be the
they
same
took the
person.
application. Exactly.
Not be like admission rep Charlie versus Friday night Charlie.
And the
You know
other
what I
thing
mean?
is being admissions rep Charlie. Sometimes I would tell them, well, make the DOA Charlie the bad guy. Hey, Charlie, you know every
You
day.
do that to me all the time.
Every day I stand in front of you. Every day I stand in front of you to my DOA and you're not coming through. What's really going on? Having that real conversation, because hopefully you've built up enough of a rapport with the individual where you could have that conversation. But if you're comfortable enough to say to your DOA, I'm not confident in this person, let's take them off the books. I'd rather have a rep say, take them off the books, than have me say, I need to take them off your books for you.
Perfect. We're out of time. But here's what we're going to do. I like this disagreement part because I want to make sure that everybody knows, just like a GPS, there's many ways to get to the end result. So I think what we're going to do next week is we're going to have Ash, you, Eric on. I want to talk through the different ways you guys being a DOA and how it may differ, but we're still getting the results that we want. Because when you build a team, you can't build a team at, say I'm in Virginia Beach. I can't build Charlie Parker's team. I got to build MK's team. And that roadmap has to be MK's roadmap. What we're talking about are those guardrails and those best practices of a playbook. But at the end of the day, it's still got to be their team and their navigation to get there. You get what I'm saying?
And to be able to look at that playbook and make adjustments daily, hourly.
Bingo.
To make sure you get
Hourly. We learned that from Paulette, and that was a good reminder for me.
Oh, one last thing. The lead distribution.
Okay.
Aggressive at trades. More aggressive, or the read.
All right, we're going to take
research
5 more minutes on this one.
Much more.
Talk to me about this.
Much,
Because I think we're too relaxed on this.
much more aggressive than even I was when I thought I was aggressive.
Define that.
You don't eat unless you produce the day before. So if on Monday you do
That's
not.
mean.
It's not mean. It's trying to be aggressive. It's trying to win. Now, some people may perceive it as mean because
So am I going to give John Paxson the ball or Michael Jordan the ball?
you're going to give Michael.
Is
but
that
if,
the same?
But if John Paxson is open, you got to give him a shot. You got to give him a shot. Now, if John Paxson has been hitting those threes, hitting those threes, you may keep on feeding him. But if Paxson's not scoring, you're not going to give him the ball. You're definitely not going to give. You're not going to design a play for Rodman.
I hope you guys understand that, because it is vital. That's our food. I mean,
Right.
that's what keeps us
Right.
moving.
And that was the one thing that I saw at Trade, which was even more aggressive than when I was a DOA, because we talked about this.
Yep.
You know, I would set a tone for the week based off of how you produced last week and determine what you're going to get
But
this
now
week.
daily, if not hourly.
But the tone was set for on Monday. Me and my front
Yeah,
desk
the stand
right.
up, front desk stand up,
Right.
and then you got your team stand up.
Here, what they did was hourly, no activity. You didn't even get fed the next day. That was more aggressive than I've seen. And then at first I was just like, well, what about the person who's like, well, if you're not giving me anything, how can I produce?
Well, you're starving me. I'm gonna die.
Right. Well, this food over there, go find something to eat. Show me how hungry you are. Get something to eat, and I'll continue to feed you again.
And it's a culture. You just can't.
Exactly.
You can't turn it on like a faucet
Yep.
and turn it off like a faucet.
Exactly.
You got to build that culture.
And that's one thing that I saw on her team, at least from where I stood looking in. It was a culture that they started. It was a culture that the reps seemed to embrace, and it was what it was.
Because it is.
Daily. Exactly.
It's not like a bipolar. Like Wednesday I do it, but then the other week I don't do it. It's got to be
Consistency.
very consistent, and they know the playbook.
And the
they
expectation is set. And when I asked Dr. P about that, she's like, this is how all of my DOAs and all in the entire region are all trained. And then when I spoke to you, I said, I'm going to try
And
some
that
of
was
this.
a big difference. There is a difference in that culture and the AIM culture. And I do believe if the AIMs had that culture, especially because a lot of them have only one program,
Right.
that could help them. Because that grind is even more because they can't cross-sell.
Well, somebody could argue that because they only have one program, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
I don't
necessarily
I could
agree
argue
with
the
that.
other way too.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
So, like you said before, there's so many different ways that you could skin the same cat. But at the end of the day,
I gotta
it's
bring cats in.
you like cats.
I don't like cats.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
skin away.
That's why I skinned it. I think it's the culture. I think it's the attitude that starts at the top that filters down to everybody on the team. I think the front desk and the DOA having that camaraderie and building that with the team creates that energy that you need in what we do. You know, because like you said, this is an emotional thing that we do. To have that grind each day, and to most importantly realize that lead is the ball, and when it's your opportunity to shoot, you got to bring it, and that goes into the appointments and the
want the ball.
conversation. You got to want it.
You can't be LeBron back in the day where you're running from the ball.
See,
I had to do that.
no,
I had to
was
fit
a
that
cheap
in
shot.
at some point.
That was a cheap
All
shot.
right. Thank you, Claude.
Appreciate it.
So this is video 4. Next week, we'll have all the regional DOAs on. We're going to talk a little shop. We're definitely going to talk about direction and differences in their opinion on how to approach it. Just like we have 20 different DOAs have different approaches, but we all have some baseline things to keep those guardrails up. Thank you. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.